Hey there, guys and gals. I'm going to take just a quick minute before I really get going and starting, but this is going to be a movie review on Citizen Vigilante, possibly a few other things that I could talk about, but mainly this is going to be the main thing. So, I've went ahead and I've heard this talked about a little bit. I saw it popping up here and I saw it popping on there. CBR is the one that really made it hit my radar because they said that Elon Musk had made it free. I didn't catch the free version, free for 48 hours on X, which really hyped up this new movie. Now, a lot of people, like an excessive, enormous amount of people like vigilante movies, okay? Let me just explain really quick. Death Wish, Dirty Harry, The Punisher, I Spit on Your Grave. Man, the list keeps going on and on. Rambo, First Blood. That turned into that kind of thing. You had an awful, corrupt, self-entitled sheriff, and you had this guy that was a war hero and everything. So all of that type of stuff went on. You've got franchises like Death Wish, which the initial one, I mean, the audience stood up like standing ovation, praising that movie, just like, wow, this is like the greatest thing. If you've ever seen that like unedited, not the television version, an exquisitely violent, long drawn out rape scene with the daughter, nudity, all that stuff going on and everything. So yeah, it really earned its rated R rating, and used to rated R could be even worse than rated R is now. Now, with Citizen Vigilante, this absolutely would get the rated R rating, like the modern rated R rating. There is nudity in it. It's gratuitous. He goes out to have sex with a prostitute and is shown in a rated R way, which means that they're not showing penetration or whatever. But you get the nudity and whatnot in it. Similar to what you would get in Angel Heart or Serpent in the Rainbow, maybe. But yeah, for a bit longer, so maybe closer to Watchmen in that sort of sense. But yeah, you've got the guy, the hero. Am I pointing the right way? Yeah. If you're not watching this on a cell phone, you're saying it, the hero. In the movie The Vigilante, so this it's the gray. He's not like White Hat, but he's, because he's outside of the bounds of the law, but he's killing people that are quite bad because the justice system isn't, doing justice. Um, so yeah, you've got that guy there. I don't know. I don't know what my favorite kill would be in it. I like the judge that he killed. That he killed the judge that had let a rape gang go loose. They were Muslim. It's based off of real life stuff, not to isolate just, hey, whatever, but like that actually has happened. This girl deserved it because she's dressed, totally normal, 14 years old, and these like seven guys held her down and raped her and everything, and so her life was just a wreck. He gets the judge. He shoots him up with a hypodermic needle with heroin. He goes through a big spiel about how broken the system and everything is. People like Benjamin Percy or whatever. We're not talking about like personal life. We're talking about the fact being a fantastic writer and writing The Punisher. He would know how to write this. Presumably, anyone that is capable of writing characters like the Punisher, that's capable. Otherwise, you're an incompetent idiot. That's capable of understanding the reasoning and all behind that. Yeah, absolutely. You could totally write that sort of thing. So this guy is part of the problem. A big thing with problem in medicine or whatever even is that you want to get to the root of the problem and not just the symptoms of the problem. And so the higher up stuff, the government things there would be the big issue. So yeah, he did that, took him out into the country, spilled some alcohol on him, and slit both of his wrists the correct way that someone would do that if they were killing someone or someone were trying to kill herself. I don't think that I have to go through a definition of what that is, but like the long way, not like side to side, but up and down. So he does that, so the guy will bleed out thoroughly. Um, I was really into criminology and all that, so I mean, I've seen like a lot of gore. I've seen like real life murder scenes and everything. So I mean, I'm nothing like all that, especially when it's on a screen, is going to really get to me. Martyrs is about that violent too. It's more violent, but yeah. So he goes to the people's place and he talks to them and calls out the daughter for writing that the girl deserved to be raped. Has the young guy, he's a teenager, call his friends. He kills them all, and the girl sees it and finally feels like she's got justice when she's living in a society in Europe. By the way, in Europe. Um, where that's not happening because all of these people are coming in, the worst of the worst, not even being vetted, and you know, yeah, horrible, terrible things happen. Is it exploitative? Yes. Is it gratuitous? Yes, 100%. At the end of the movie, it says that this movie is dedicated and in honor and in homage or whatever to the thousands, which is correct, thousands of people in Europe that have been failed by their government and by the legal system by having all of these immigrants come in to their country, not Poland. Poland won't put up with garbage like that. God bless them. To their country and everything. I mean, this isn't even me making any kind of real I see people like ranting for vengeance, and he talks about how awful his country has got. And you all know my son's in the military. My nephew's in the military. I mean, I'm not in a box somewhere. I hear about how bad things are. It's rough. Things are all around the world and everything. But yeah, I've heard the what is he, 15-year old ranting for vengeance talk about how awful things are in Ireland. It sounds absolutely horrible to have people come in that are crapping on your country, that don't care, that are over there in your neighborhood and everything. I mean, I've heard that California is a cesspool. That's why everybody and their cousin is moving to Tennessee, and our housing market is broken right now. I mean, it's crazy, stupid high because you've got people coming in that can afford to pay more for housing and whatnot, and so they do, so that way they're sure to get it, and then it's absolutely wrecked it. So yeah, a lot of the Southeast is getting that way. It's run better, it's managed better in a lot of these states and everything, and people, sensible, normal, people from California, they do exist, but they're fleeing from California like rats from a sinking ship, and likewise, they're coming to places like this. Politically, Tennessee's all over the map. It's a red state. If you're in a city, it's blue. But yeah, if it's in a rural place, I mean, you could, I mean, it's gunfires going off all the time. Very pro gun around here. That's totally normal. A lot of hunting and everything. Deer season's gonna take off sometime here in the fall. You would not believe how many deer there are around where I live. I mean, I'll see like 20 a day or something like that driving home. So a lot. But yeah, I'm not quite in the boonies. I'm in a like a suburban type neighborhood, but it's heavily wooded and whatnot. But yeah, that's life. Anyway, um, production value. This is not anything at all like oh, what's that Keanu Reeves movie where nobody can whoop him? I think that's a few Keanu Reeves movies. Victoria, what's that Keanu Reeves series where nobody can whoop him? She's not saying it, but it's John Wick. It popped back into my head. It's not like production quality level of John Wick or anything. I will tell you that the violence, like people like bleeding out from their neck, especially like right when you started up, this woman gets like an arterial vein, slit by a large kitchen knife by like some black dude that's walking around, or whether he's Somalian, whatever. That he's a foreigner or whatnot. He's a bad person, is what he is. He just slashes her neck and just lets her bleed out on the street. Doesn't rob her or anything. Just keeps on walking. And as her child is there, hanging over her, mommy, and all that, and she's just bleeding everywhere, and it's pulsing with like her heartbeat and everything, like it would do. I think it takes 3 to 5 minutes to die that way. Yeah, it would feel like an eternity, I'm sure, but it's it's a pretty violent movie. It makes very clear the motives and the statements and all of this person. It takes into effect a lot of real life narratives and everything. Now, it doesn't quite go the route. This is a wealthy guy, by the way. It doesn't quite go the route of the uh, the Death Wish stuff. So in Death Wish, it talks about how the crime starts going down. That's set in the 70s. About how the crime, I think it's 70s, how the crime starts going down because there's a vigilante going around. This is a wealthy American guy that had formerly been in the military, so he's in a position. He really has a lot to lose. You know, it's not like he's flat on his back and doesn't feel like he has anything to lose, and he's going to do this. You know, you hear about these different. I know several people that have committed suicide that were like cops or whatever whatever was going on, PTSD or whatnot, had been federal agents or police officers with cancer or whatnot, and you'll hear them like talk about suicide and all that. And you know, and you think to yourself, and I've even made comments. It's like, you know, I mean, if you're such a, you know, the particular people, they've killed, you know, a number of people and all that. Um, there's bad people, you know, bad people, just say around here or wherever, and it's like, why don't you go down in a blaze? You would be a rock star, man. I mean, that's the angle that I would go. There's a book about that. It's called "Death Rides a Pale Horse," where the man knows that he's dying, and he decides to become a bounty hunter because if he just gets shot instead of dying this horrible, agonizing, drug out death, he thinks that that would be favorable. I get that. It doesn't seem cowardly at all to do that. You know, but you think to yourself, why, if you're that type of person, I mean, you would be a legend if you just went plowing through a drug dealer's gates, went into their house with guns ablazing, just shot the living crap out of. I'm not talking about some low level, you know, creep person, but bad guys, all that. It's weird, you know. You have people that want to kill somebody. There's certain places that if you went to them, particularly at certain times, that an individual that you would kill would probably be an awful person. Yeah, I mean, you know, we're talking like the 3 or 4 a.m. hour in bad neighborhoods. When why is somebody normal going to be out there? Because it's scary individuals that hang there. Have you almost ever been murdered in a neighborhood like that, in a time setting like that, BL? Yes. So that's how I know it was scary as all could get out. God was there. God was. I mean, I throw it in a miracle category. It's insane that I was not murdered. Came running at me in the pitch dark of night. I was young. But yeah, so no, I get it. And as composed as I am, and as well as I have it together, and I'm very composed and really have it together, I could not keep the fearful look out of my eye, and I knew it, and I was shaking like a leaf. And I thought they were going to kill me, and I was conversating with the Lord silently um, about all of that, and I was thinking about how Abner, how David said, "You died a fool's death, that your hands weren't bound, you know, your feet weren't tied." And everything. And it was kind of like that. I should have never got out of the car in this place that literally looked like it was drug out of a nightmare on Elm Street. Rough stuff. That was in Nashville, by the way. In what was a really bad neighborhood. I hear that hipsters have all bought up that neighborhood of Nashville. Now Trinity Avenue was the road that I got off on, and I drove and drove and drove, and I was in some area that reminded me of Chicago, and I say that in the least complimentary way possible. I say that in the way that, like, the bad parts of Chicago look, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I used to go there as a kid. I'm not going to go through a big spiel about this, but I went to the Shriners, Marfinism, scoliosis, all that. And they said, "We're going to take you on the scenic route." You know, I saw the Married with Children fountain and all that. And we drove through this neighborhood where there was a funeral in the middle of the streets, and the person was a gang member. And I'm wanting to say that it seemed like everybody was wearing the blue bandanas. So that, what is that? That's the Crips. But yeah, I'm wanting to say that it was, but they were all wearing colors, and nobody did anything. Nobody harmed the Shriners bus and everything, but they did not like us driving through there, and clearly the driver didn't know that that was going on. But you know, you were feeling a little on edge because if enough people wanted to attack bus in there, here we go. Yeah, so that was I've had some interesting life experiences, I'll tell you. Yeah. But anyway, no, overall, it was okay. I the premise of it was good. The dude, and I think I've heard different people equate it to like Batman meets Punisher because he has all of these resources, right? He's got lawyers, he's got weapons. It's not like a normal dude. I had thought years back about, man, I could write a story because if you've read any of my like fiction stuff, I can write like the most violent story. Like people should be lined up to hire me. Can write like the most violent stories, and I thought about calling it like the American. And you have somebody that's basically like a modern day cowboy in England specifically. Now, this is not set in England, um, but because you've got all the knife crime there and like nobody has a gun, so you get the one dude that did. I know in India, because I know people in India that like the police have to check out a gun and then they have to radio in for permission to shoot somebody, even if the person has a gun. Um, I don't think that they thought that out too well. It's like Meet the Robinsons. Isn't that what it is? What do they keep saying to the bad guy, that you've not put enough thought into this or whatnot? That's insane. That the cops would check out a gun and then have to get permission. You either have provocation or you don't. And here in the United States of America, that is the way that it works. That you have to have provocation. We had a religious hate group. I'm calling them. They were coming to protest against a preacher that we had come in there, and I told them, if you're coming to fight, don't come. If they would have stood on the sidewalk, that would have been one thing. And my main concern wasn't so much them, but that they were going to rouse up some kind of a violent, actually violent, physically violent, going to shoot people up type person, psychopath, down there at the church. So I told the people to pack, and I told them, I said, you don't draw a gun unless somebody else draws a gun. And that's when it's okay to shoot them, and just shoot them dead. But you don't draw a gun unless they have a gun. So yeah, I mean, I was packing. I had a Derringer in my pocket. I was ready to gut shoot somebody like it was the OK Corral pastoring in a church, because I'm going to keep my people safe against actual threats. That didn't happen. Instead, it was me throwing out I don't even know, like 350, 380, 400 pound man. He was huge, really big guy. And yeah, I don't know. And I'm not trying to like berate his weight and all that. I'd actually like looked him up, because you can read all about everybody on social media. So I mean, I know all about his life and family because I retain things entirely too well. But yeah, I knew where he worked, all that kind of stuff after the fact. Um, but yeah, he just came to mouth off. It was inappropriate how they acted. It's not how you rebuke people. What you do is you just stand up and you say it. You don't act like you want to go up and pray for them under a guise of something. Be a man. But yeah. Anyway, so now in this movie, he kills the judge. He kills the rape gang. There's some reoccurring villains that I thought this is going to be foreshadowing. I told my wife, this is foreshadowing these creeps that won't pay the bus ticket, which is totally true. What he said, that when people steal, they make everything become that much more expensive. My mother worked in security for years. There was a letter sent by the district attorney. This was in Toledo, Ohio, by the way, thanking her for all the people. They got the crack houses would say that you do not rob these particular stores. She will not let you get away. My mom would say something would just kick into her that they're not going to get her. She would walk in and pray that God would let her find people that were stealing in those stores, and she would run and tackle them in the parking lot and all that. If it came to that, you say, security, you're coming with me, and you say it like you mean it, like it's not an option. And most people come with you, but then the idiots are the memorable ones. They had a dude that was high as a kite on God knows what, and just a knockdown drag out fight. It took so many people to take that person down. Movies do not accurately show overall what it's like to fight somebody that's high on drugs. Now, Death Wish 2, to its credit, I really liked how they handled the guy with the red kinky hair. and everything, how he's flipping cops over cars and all that. I mean, he's just like crazy stone. He's the one that gets electrocuted to death in it. Because that's more like it. That's what's happened. Somebody's on what do you, is it PCP? Somebody's on like something like that. I mean, they're just out of their mind, like you're fighting a gorilla or something. You know, you have to shoot them like 40 times for them to fall over dead. Just pumping with like they'll have a broke leg and they'll keep coming at you. It's insane. But yeah, she had some prostitute claw down the chest, had ribbons of flesh hanging. These people don't even know. I wonder if they know real world violence like that. I mean, that level of violence. There's a thing with, and I don't know if it's a thing that is in like with all black women, but I've heard that it's a thing about taking off a high heel shoe and trying to use it as a weapon. Yeah, that's happened. My mom would be beating a prostitute with like a Campbell soup can or whatever kind of can she get. When it's that level, you're just trying to make them stop. Um, but yeah, had to mace people. Mace is a bad thing because mace doesn't just mace the person; it kind of bounces back and hits you and anyone in the general proximity. So, yeah, that's trash right there, having to mace anybody because you in turn kind of get maced too, especially if it's outside. It was in inside stuff, but it does go everywhere. So there's a method to the madness, isn't there? But no, citizen vigilante. Gratuitously violent, gratuitous sex scene in it, very R-rated. Would watch this without the kids would be my recommendation. The premise and everything, works. The videography, the filmography, it's okay, but I mean, again, this isn't like you're seeing some like high level, you know what I mean? Like super production quality type movie. It worked. They used their money in a lot of violence. There was a very sci-fi channel explosion where he's trying to make a point to a judge and he's drives in somebody else's lane, and rather than that person cut over into the other lane, they go off into a ditch because they're not supposed to, like hardwired to go into the other lane. Do you know that in MMA that there are certain martial arts, by the way, this is like what I'm saying but different. There's certain martial arts styles that they will not let them fight in MMA because they say that the people that are in these particular styles, they're effective in real life, work so well, and that they've got it so hardwired in them, like they'll want to go for the eyes or the throat, things that aren't allowed in sports combat, but that like if you really had somebody that was trying to murder you or whatever, you would want this person to be fighting them. Yeah, there's a handful. That's always like five or something, but that they don't want in like MMA because they say you cannot untrain those things because that's like what they have like rooted in them. It's almost like that. Instead of the person jumping over into the other lane and think, I'm gonna hit the shoulder. We just had a horrible wreck, a bunch of vehicles a few days ago. A deer, again, we're in East Tennessee, so deer are everywhere. A deer jumps out into the middle of the road and somebody swerves over, and then the semi swerves, and then the semi's in the ditch in the median, and it's a big pile up, and it's all these massive wrecks. I don't know if people died or what, but because a deer takes a flying leap into a heavily trafficked highway, and they're more heavily trafficked now than they have been in years past because so many people have moved here to East Tennessee. In my mornings to work, I'm basically heading like I'm going up into Knoxville, not downtown, but so yeah, I'm going up like I'm going to Knoxville, so I'm going that route. In the morning, I didn't see that particular thing, but I hear about it. But on the way there, on the way back, there's certain places that for absolutely no reason whatsoever, except the fact that presumably people don't know how to drive. Not all people, but enough to impact it. And it wrecks stuff. It's like, why did we slow down? Why are people coming to a dead stop in the middle of the interstate? This is insane. It's somebody that doesn't know how to merge. It's somebody that's not letting people in. It's some kind of stupidity going on. Anyway, overall, I did go ahead and I checked out the movie because I heard people talk about it. Again, there's a lot of vigilante movies that I like. It's a good premise. The government's corrupt, the system's messed up. They let all these people go. Somebody kills somebody, and you'll have like a drug dealer that gets like a heavier sentence than an actual murderer gets. I'm not talking self defense. I'm talking about like murder, like cold blooded murder. It's rough stuff, man. Crazy, but yeah. Anyway, supposedly there's going to be a Citizen Vigilante 2. Elon Musk said, I don't know if it's just hyperbole or whatever, but Elon Musk said, and this is what I read through like an AI thing. What was it, like Chat GPT or whatever? Because I'm like, did Elon Musk have anything to do with this? Because people want to attach his name to something, which would only add more pomp to it. He just endorsed it kind of like verbally that he enjoyed the film, that it was an enjoyable film. It's a rich guy that like takes the law into its own hand. Dude, I mean, I mean, I don't see like Elon Musk stepping up and doing that. Quite frankly, he could go full on Wesley Dodds, and he could have like the A team that worked for him, really, really and truly. And he's probably smart enough to get away with it too. But yeah, that type of thing. But no, this dude was equipped. He was primed. He's military. He had all the tactical stuff, all the weapon stuff. Does he get tried and convicted and all in the end? Does he told to get out of town by sunset or anything like that, like you've got in these other movies? Here's the thing, no. And as a writer, here's why that's problematic. So like a lot of things that I like to write are antiquated. They're not set in modern times because modern times it would be so much harder to get away with anything like that. Um, you and I are carrying a cell phone. Do you know what that is? It's a tracking device. The car that I drive, you know what that is? It's a tracking device because it's not like from the 90s or whatever. If it's got that what is it, OnStar or whatever. I don't have a subscription or whatever to it, but you know what I mean. It's got a button where you can press to call people and all that. You can Bluetooth music on it. It doesn't have a CD player, which I've got an issue with. I've got so many CDs. Um, all that stuff. I hate that, but it's like a tracking device, right? So if you're going around like that, or if somebody is 6G like China, where they say that they know exactly where people are standing in rooms because pipes and walls and everything like act some way, sounds like a Terminator movie or something psychotic. I hate all this AI and 6G and all that garbage. But if it's something like that, I mean, if it was a third world country, I mean, you're probably you could probably get away with that. But I mean, that's not the issue. The issue is that in this movie is that you have terrible people, not the best of the best, not like the good people from whatever, but like the worst elements coming in and leeching off parasitically to first world countries and raping and killing and all that. That's the narrative of this movie. And you've got an American guy, very wealthy guy, owns a bunch of properties, has a lot of rental properties, all this kind of stuff, and he's just not going to put up with it. Would he be a better leader than the prime? I think it's the prime minister or whoever they have in this. Yeah. I mean, based on that, yeah, absolutely, because he cares more about the people than the ones that were elected. Sure. You know how that is with our elections, with Republican, with Democrat, and all that. How often do the best candidates in a party get perpetuated to the front? I mean, it's probably not a lot. It's because it's somebody's good buddy or whatever. It happens a lot. I know that here on TV, like here, and I'm not making this into a big political thing, but when you watch what is it, the Roku channel, constantly you're seeing Marsha Blackburn, Marsha Blackburn, Marsha Blackburn commercials. I'm not saying anything one way or the other, okay? But she is the Republican candidate that's endorsed by Trump, and that's what you're seeing the commercials for. There's a lot of money that's behind that. Right now, in the estimate or whatever it is, she's at the absolute rock bottom of the three Republicans that are running for state governor. With I believe it's Monty Fritz is the first one, very Christian conservative, wildly anti AI. She's not that, I don't believe, but he's wildly anti AI. Stuff. Monty Fritz is. Rose, the other Republican dude, is in second place. This is just for the Republican primary. I'm not talking about like overall. Is in the second place, and then she, the one that's being like pushed by the sitting president, is the third place, allegedly. Now, those who know history don't trust the government, and you probably don't trust mainstream news or whatever. Where were these polls taken from? Yada 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 yada. I don't know. I'm just saying that's what it says. That could be a complete lie. She could be slaughtering everybody in it. Wouldn't even know. Don't know. But anyway, I was just getting on here to tell you about what this specific movie, Citizen Vigilante, was about. There's a lot of hype and everything for it. There's people that go on like these podcasts and live streams and everything, and it's like, so what movies and what comics and whatever did you read that are like big and happening and jiving like here today? And you'll get somebody that's on there like breathing through their mouth, and they're like, I don't know, I didn't even prepare. Then get off the live stream. Then why are you even there? So no, this is a popular movie, like popular enough that if you, not necessarily you, but if a bunch of people aren't covering it, it's like, where's your head at? People are talking about this. I'm going to be going down to see Evil Dead Burn. I really, really enjoyed Evil Dead Rise. In fact, it may be like my favorite movie out of the entire franchise, movie-wise. It doesn't have the silliness and all that. I kind of put those in their own category with Bruce Campbell, and I love Bruce Campbell. But yeah, this Rise was fantastic. It was just blood and guts and gore and all that, like swimming pools of it. Just really extreme, raw, type stuff. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the next one being good. Looking forward to seeing Insidious. Looking forward to seeing Spider-Man. I think that Spider-Man is going to do well. I know that there's a bunch of characters in it, but what's redeemed my faith in all of that is how well the one with all three of the Spider-Men, was handled. Because that's like, there's too many characters. This is going to be like Spider-Man 3, and they they did such a nice job in that. I mean, it was totally, it was give the people what they want. So I mean, I think that this will probably be good, but I've got hope in them. DC, I'm planning on seeing Clayface. I have some hope for Clayface. It's a body horror, standalone, whatever, I guess. So I mean, I think that can roll, particularly because they said that their inspiration are the two episodes in Batman the Animated Series. What is it, Feet of Clay? Is that the name of it? Hands of Clay, Feet of Clay. It's something. I think it's Feet of Clay. Whatever it is, it's a two-parter. That's beautiful, glorious. Some of my favorite absolute Batman the Animated Series episodes. Absolutely love and adore them. So I'm thinking that that's going to be some good stuff there. Supergirl, lest you wonder, lest anybody wants to ask, because I'm talking about what's popular in movies and everything. I don't go to see things that I'm under the distinct impression that I'm probably going to hate. I did think that the last trailer of it was exponentially better than the first trailer of it. Will I watch it when it comes on, like, what do you call it, where I can watch it on my TV at home? I might, but I don't. There's a lot of movies that I haven't. I don't really feel a need to. There's nothing really about it that appeals to me at all. They say that if the book appeals to you, The Woman of Tomorrow, that they've completely like wrecked it by not even sticking with that. So any virtue that Supergirl would have is out the window. I know there's a lot of garbage going on with the actress and whatnot. My take is this on any movie, and I'm not going into anything deep. Um, you are a complete and total idiot if you come out ahead of whatever movie or series that you're working on and you start talking all of this crap on the fans, these toxic fans, be it men, women, whatever, white people, black people, doesn't even matter. If you just start throwing stones at people for rejecting you before they even rejected you, you're an idiot. I say that across the board. You are an idiot. Do you know who doesn't do that? Like Jack, what is it, Black? He doesn't do that. He just gets up and he just makes fun movies. It's just we wanted to make something that was so great that everyone could enjoy. That's what you say when somebody says, "Tell me about whatever the LGBT agenda," because there was talk with that and people wanted to say this or that, positive or negative or whatever. Do you know what you do if you're a good speaker? And I'm all right. But what you do is you sidestep the question and you just say, we just wanted to make something that was so great that everybody could enjoy it. We appreciate all of our audience. This isn't about being divisive towards any group of people, because why would it be? You're trying to make money, but we just want to make something that anybody can enjoy. It's just a fun, superhero movie. People are coming here to have a release and to enjoy themselves, and it's going to be exciting, and it's going to have a lot of action and some good story. And you just start talk like that. I mean, there's people that know how to talk. Bob Iger knows how to talk. I mean, exceptionally. I'm not talking about you like him, you hate him, whatever. I'm saying that the man is totally media trained. When he gets up in front of a camera, he's one of these people. He's like a politician, which I heard that he wanted to run. But he's like a politician. He knows how to talk. That's not saying good. That's not saying bad. That's just saying he doesn't act like an idiot when he's given the microphone, and that is good. That's why people like him get put in CEO positions. I'm sure there's other things too, but that when he gets up there, that he's not jeopardizing his company. He's not like trash talking people. No, we want your money. No, we want you to watch this thing. So I have a extraordinarily violent comic book series. It has nothing to do with any of this that's coming out in November of this year through April of next year. It's called Hellfire. They will all be 48 interior page flip books. Please follow me. If you're not following this YouTube channel, things aren't going to pop up and whatnot. Subscribe to it. It makes me look. Do you know that there's a lot of like acting things and all kinds of things that like say how many subscribers and followers do you have? Like that means that you're going to be more quality, but they think people will show up because you're the cool kid. There's a lot of people that are like that. Hey, somebody's popular. Let's get, not talented, but popular. Let's get them in, and whatever. Yeah. So I mean, I've got all that coming out. It's going to be absolutely great if you like super violent, like horror things with like religious tones and everything. I'm saying like Frailty, like The Crow, like Seven, that type of thing. You will absolutely love it. I mean, like be obsessed with it, perspectively, maybe. Um, if you're offended by anything, you will not want to get that Red Band series, Hellfire. It's all of them are flip books. They come with other stuff and all that. I do have kid-friendly things. I've got extreme horror stuff. When it says extreme horror, that goes under the same. If you're offended by anything, do not get these books. I've got traditional westerns. I've got all kinds of stuff. They're in that link, and I guess I'm pointing the correct way. They're in that link right up there in the corner. Go ahead and click on that if you want to get any of those books. Before any of this, I was a notable, I guess notable, uh, independent Southern gospel music writer. I'm all about Jesus, y'all. I mean, that's really who I am. If you want to sit around and listen on Spotify to Ben Jam, all capitals, BEN asterisk, that's shift in the 8 key, JAM, so like Benjamin without the IN, Ben asterisk Jam. You can go ahead and do that. I get paid quarterly for people listening to my music. If you're going on vacation, you just let that thing roll around. It would help me a lot. Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean. But yeah, if you listen to my music, you buy my music, whatever, I get paid quarterly. Books, I get paid monthly. They are print on demand. They are all around the world. Everything that I got. Now this Hellfire thing ain't going to be. I'm going to be getting like a limited run of like whatever. This is not crowdfunded. I've had people like, man, you need to do the crowdfunding. If I felt like I had people, that's like a popularity contest, by the way. If I felt like I had people that would just like show up in droves for crowdfunding, I would do it. Instead, I paid it all off of my own back. I did what Mark Waid has said. This is what you should do if you want in comics, right? Mark Waid, I'm calling you out. You just put out stuff and you show that you're not just a one and done, but that you were consistent over and over and over again. There will be 6 books: Hellfire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, annual number 1. That includes Holy Ghost Exorcist 1 and 2, Small Dog 1, 2, and 3, and Phuket Mama number 1, which will be a reprint on them. They will be staggering out month after month, which technically means that I will be getting them before that. If Benny Ratchmanoff is listening to this, that technically means that they need to be done and in my hand like a month before this. You get a lot of problems with places like Distillery or whatever, where things like drag and people overall, and I know things happen, Distillery or whoever's watching, but it's not a good look. And so I try to do things that exude overwhelming amounts of competence. So what I'm doing is both an editorial job and a writer job with the Star Creep stuff that I wrote for Dave Dinsmore, my buddy. I also did the lettering on that. I want to say that that's a lot of work. Complete and total respect to all of you letters. That is work. Y'all know that I'm a graphic artist, full-time professional, get paid to do this stuff. Adobe Illustrator, I know that that is completely overkill for putting together like comics and stuff to use Illustrator, yet I do like a crutch. But yeah, I write up the scripts and everything like that, work with the artist. Where I'm an artist myself, I think in pictures we communicate well. Where I'm a literary author, I get along well with other writers. I hear people say mind-blowingly idiotic things. Maybe they're true, about all the competition and people trying to underbid each other and all that. It sounds like a bunch of people suck, but I don't even know if that's true. In comics, whatever. I think different people are better at writing different kinds of stories. Now, I've not hit a wall or anything, but I mean, quite frankly, I wouldn't blame somebody if they would typecast me and say this dude should write like Red Band horror stuff, or this dude should like write Western stuff, based on the prose material that I've written, and then some comic stuff that I've did. That means that I've already got a base of people that like me, that like that kind of things. Yeah, totally. I would completely understand that. I've also written within comics, particularly a bunch of humor and everything, that Tales from the Crypt and Mad Magazine were highly inspirational to me. Anyway, I digress. This was my review. I know I don't like to give stars or whatever. It's better than mid, but it's lower than exquisite. If it didn't have the gratuitous like sex scene in it, and I get they want to be all edgelord or whatever. If it didn't have that with the prostitute, I probably would have gave it more, because it would have broadened it and opened it up to a bigger audience, even though it still would have been R-rated because of violence. But I probably would have gave it like more like that. There's a lot of things that I can't speak on because I've never been to Europe. I've got a number of people that buy my stuff from Europe. God bless you. It was police, the way that it was spelled. I was like looking up like where's police like that, and it's like more Slavic type places and everything. So this isn't like England or France, or what, like Belgium, or or whatever. It's not those places, or Germany, but it's more like a Slavic type Europe place. There's a lot of places that this could be, but yeah, it's I watched it. It's like 90 minutes. There you go. That's all you're getting from me. I think that I've given you a good amount of information. They say that there will be a second one. Um, I I'm really into videography. You know what was a good movie that I saw, or I felt like it was a good movie way back when it was made a while ago, was Nikita. And I guess La Femme Nikita was based off of that. You have this woman that gets hired into being an assassin and everything, and I like the scene where she's like putting the gun together in the bathroom and all that, and has to shoot somebody from out the window, and then she's taking a bath and she's crying. She's going through actual stuff. This guy's seen war. He's killed a lot of people, and there is no part of him that feels like their lives are justified, that these people that the world would be better without, he takes them out because they're predatory monsters that are preying on the innocent, the weak, the frail, the defenseless. Oh, there's another scene, by the way, too, and I'm getting off here then, where there's some dudes that are trying to like drug these young girls, so they can have their way with them. You know, at a bar, they put something in their drinks. He comes over and he distracts them and he swaps the drinks, and then he tells the two girls, he's like, "You need to get out of here. What happened was these guys were going to drug you, and I switched the drinks, and that's what you're seeing." And they go ahead and do that. So that was cute. There's some nice scenes. He does not kill everybody. He beats the snot out of some punk thugs, like breaks their wrists and all that by like stomping on them like hard. Uh, yeah, I'm not going to go through all the martial arts dynamics and everything. You know, I did some of that as a kid, and then I've like, you know, had videos and whatnot for more. I don't like put myself up there with some kind of prestige as an expert. I was really into mixed martial arts. I kicked a Muay Thai bag until I couldn't even walk hardly. You know, would work out at the gym till I maxed out machines in my 20s. Everything. I'm 40 years old now. You know, well, over 40. I'm in my 40s. Uh, now. And yeah, the 40s hit you like a ton of bricks. So I ain't like I was when I was 20, whatever. I'm no spring chicken, but whatnot. Anyway, that is Citizen Vigilante. Like the video, hate the video, comment on the video, share the video, clip the video, do what you're gonna do. I've watched a lot of vigilante type stuff. There's actually a character that I may very well be writing, if Hellfire gets enough money to substantiate a season two, and they will be along the lines of those. So not good guy, not bad guy, but totally vigilante. Is the way that I would reference everything. If you would say, "What's the story about?" I would say trauma. But yeah, it's that type of thing. So I like more human, you know, fill-in stories. It's not necessarily for you to cheer for one character or the other. He kills a lot of cops in it. A lot of cops that are doing their jobs. You know, their job being to come after him instead of to take rapists off the streets in Europe. So yeah, that goes on. So some people have said, "Man, this is kind of like Bruce Wayne Punisher stuff." I don't think typically that people that are like vigilantes that go to shooting people in movies are super wealthy. Um, you know, now if you were a hitman, you would have some money from that. You know, BL, do you know any hitmen? I know somebody that got saved, that the Lord delivered him and called him out of that, and the guy's a preacher, and he used to he used to be in a line of work like that. God got him out and redeemed him, and there's a big long line of stuff. Not in America. It was, or not in North America is the correct way to say that. I'm sorry to all my people like south of here, but yeah. So no, I know of, you know, enough, but whatever. Anyway, that's me talking about Citizen Vigilante. Um, Check out my stuff. It would really be helpful. The best way to benefit me, again, I'm not somebody that right now or any time terribly soon is on any kind of crowdfunding things. But yeah, if you listen to my music, if you read my books, all of that helps. These videos are not monetized. I can say and do whatever I want in them, presumably. And if, you know, YouTube kicks it off, then I will have thoughts and words to share about that I've heard others share that are running to Rumble and whatnot in droves, that I mean, it's eating away at YouTube like a cancer, supposedly. I don't know that I've said any of those things. I'm just telling you what this movie's about. If you can't handle my talk, then you can't handle this movie. So you're welcome.